Alright guys, let's talk about fusarium, and it doesn't matter what crop it's in. Normally this fungus we see when things have gotten, we see pathogen problems, when things have gotten saturated, especially if it turns around and it's hot and humid after that saturation event, especially extended saturation events. You'll see it pop out of nowhere, right? However, there's a catch-22 to that, and it's what I'm seeing a lot of people having problems with unexpectedly this year. And I'm seeing it in several different crops. This is going to sound super counterintuitive to a lot of people, especially based on what most, understanding of fusarium is. So, what I'm seeing with several crops and several growers this year is that their soil has been dry, especially if it's been dry over the winter, right? And there hasn't been active crops in it getting watered. It's kind of just been left fallow. Maybe it got some moisture throughout the winter, but it wasn't consistently somewhat moist. And now this year you're growing in it, and due to fusarium and other pathogens like that, you're working to keep the soil pretty dry. And now, that's super common thinking, and it's not wrong, but let me explain why you could see fusarium pop up, and when you do, if you do, under those conditions, it's going to be really a lot more difficult to get a handle on. And if you see this going on, or you're kind of using this type of protocol or management strategy, you might want to rethink it and readdress it before fusarium hits you and becomes very difficult to deal with. When your soil is dry, below 40-45% moisture level, the nitrification that takes place in that is extensive. There's not much of anything going in the reduced direction. It's all going in the oxidized direction, which means that your ammonium and other things are being converted back to nitrate. Urea is going to nitrate, not ammonia, under those conditions. And your nitrate levels, especially in that dry soil, can get extremely high as soon as water hits it, or if it's in that 30% range where fungus still has access to it. And your Brix is lower than 6. If those two things happen at the same time, you have a major issue, because that fusarium will begin to turn to the nitrate as an energy source, strip that oxygen used for its metabolism. It will excessively hyphate, and it will make your plant wilt. That excessive hyphation if you immediately get rid of it, will cause sudden plant death, because that all that hyphae is theoretically and usually full of fungal metabolites such as mycotoxins. If the fungus has built all that internal hyphae within the plant, and then there's not enough of whatever there, the nitrate, okay, it'll start autolyzing its hyphae. When it autolyzes its hyphae, when all the hyphae is present and suffocating the meristem, you get wilt. When it starts autolyzing that, you get all these spots and chlorosis and dead dry stuff, because the mycotoxin will take the plant out from the inside out when it autolyzes that hyphae. How it got there to begin with is those high nitrate levels. Okay. Now, if that's where you're at, you can't take away all the nitrate all of a sudden. But what you can do is start running a higher moisture content in your soil. Not way high. This has to be a gradual process. You don't want to, saturate it and turn all that and get all that reduced to ammonium, because then it'll autolyze its hyphae. It's reliant on that nitrate. But you can bring that moisture percentage up to 40, 45%, even 50% if you're going to let it dry back to 40, right? Stay in that 35 to 50 range, where you're never getting oversaturated. There's always oxygen there in the soil for the fungus to survive, while you're slowly bringing those nitrate levels in the soil down, and you're not applying excess nitrate at the same time. What you can apply is fish hydrolysis and things like that are more amino forms. You can apply soy hydroxylate, etc., etc. You can get your nitrogen in from other sources, while slowly bringing the nitrate down. And at the same time that you're bringing the nitrate down slowly, bringing sugar into the equation. That means putting sugar down on the ground, putting sugar on the leaves of the plant, and working to get the Brix of the plant higher. Let's work to get that Brix at 7, 8 plus. Okay, and as we slowly bring that nitrate down, the fungus's reliance upon that, if it has the sugars, the fungus can rely upon it, won't autolyze if it has enough sugar to support its growth. But it also won't grow any bigger and suffocate your plant anymore, because the nitrate is what causes that, not the sugar. The sugar appeases it. The nitrate causes explosions in growth. And when those explosions in growth happen, we also have micro and macroconidia and chlamydospores that get released. This is where the prolonged issue comes from. The polyphenols will stop the expression in the active fungus and hyphae. They'll stop the quorum signaling and whatnot quickly. You can fairly quickly reverse that expression by changing the food sources that are available to the fungus. But whatever spores are there, you have a little more battle on your hand, because you have to get those spores to hatch first off. You got to get those spores to hatch, and then you have to turn off the quorum signaling in the spores and reverse the metabolic framework in that spore. That metabolic framework is the same as the pathogenic framework. So it's about slowly bringing that nitrate that is in your soil down and not feeding nitrate. Give the plant the nitrogen it needs in the form of aminos, fish hydrolysis, soy hydrolysis, etc. urea foliar is okay. I wouldn't put urea on the ground if you're dealing with this, especially with dry soils, or drier soils, right? So we're looking to stay away from saturation events if possible, but we're also looking to have enough moisture in the soil that we get a good denitrification process going. I'm seeing this in a bunch of crops, and the people are completely bewildered because most of the time it's not known that fusarium is going to do anything in dry soil like that, but your nitrate levels are going sky high. Okay, it's not cycling through the reduction process. I think that's kind of it. So you're trying to balance that moisture, right? Don't let things stay dry for too long, and don't let them dry out too hard, especially if you know fusarium's there, because fusarium will still pull that nitrate out of the soil at 30% moisture. The plant can't get anything out of the soil at that moisture level. Okay. Anyway, that's our pep talk for today.